Hi, hello, namaste. Welcome back to Needs of Children. In this session, we are going to get the information about 10th standard English medium social science history chapter number 2, the extension of British rule. Let's come to the what are the very important learning points from this lesson. So in this lesson, you learn the very important points like Anglo-Maratha Wars, the consolidation of the British power, no succession rights for the adopted children, subsidiary alliance, Anglo-Sikh Wars. So these are the very important learning points from this lesson. Let's come to the what is the introduction for this lesson. The extension of British rule. Through Carnatic Wars, the English had made other European countries not to challenge them in India. Regarding about this Carnatic Wars, we get the information in previous lesson. So as in that Carnatic Wars, the English made other Europeans like French, Dutch, Portuguese not to challenge them in India. And the British gained complete political control over the Bengal through Lapse and Buxar battles. By 1765, they had gained control most of the eastern parts of India. You can see the map, it is highlighting, it is a dark circle with red circle. Red circle, since the Marathas and Mysore states were dominate in southern and western part of India. The hold of British was restricted to Bengal and Bombay regions only. They have restricted British to Bengal and Bombay regions only. As the part of the two important southern part of India, among that Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan of Mysore, along with Peshwas of Marathas, were the only impediments in the path of expansion for the British. So towards the southern part of India, especially Marathas as well as Mysore, they become the major torture for the British. The others were Sikhs in the northern western part of region. The other were Sikhs in the northern western region. So what kind of protest they have been provided by? How they protested against the British? Like Ranjit Singh, who emerged in the later part of 19th century, was a formidable opponent to the British. He was successful in organizing the Sikhs. Marathas and Mysore, they fought against the Britishers. As the British also waged repeated wars from the middle of the 18th century to middle of the 19th century to extend their empire in India. Apart from this, they also annexed various kingdoms with the cunning policies like Subsidiary alliance, Doctrine of Lapse. So these are the very important policies were adopted by Britishers with extending their kingdom. So let's come to the, in this lesson we are going to get the more information about how Britishers used their cunning policies like Subsidiary alliance and Doctrine of Lapse, along with Anglo-Maratha Wars. So during this period, the British waged the following wars like the 3 Anglo-Maratha Wars, 4 Anglo-Mysore Wars, 2 Anglo-Sikh Wars. So in this lesson, we are going to get the information about Anglo-Maratha Wars. Let's come to the, among that, the first Anglo-Maratha War in the year 1775 to 1782. So, reason for the Maratha Wars. The Marathas instilled Sha Alam-II back on the throne of Mughal Empire in Delhi. As Sha Alam-II was under the care of British after the defeat in Buxar War. So Sha Alam-II, he was under the care of British after the defeat in the Battle of Buxar. So in this situation, the emperor gave Kora and Allahabad to Marathas. You can see the places in the map identified in dark colored marks, which he had earlier given them to the British. This resulted in the enmity between Marathas and the British. So the emperor gave Kora and Allahabad to the Marathas. These are the places earlier given to the British. So this is the reason for the first Anglo-Maratha War to create the enmity between Marathas and British. During this period, the death of Maratha strong man named called as Madhavarao Peshwa was a major setback for the Marathas. Though his brother named called as Narayana Rao came to power, he was murdered by his uncle Raghoba, or also called as Raghunatha Rao. After the death of Madhavarao Peshwa, his brother named called as Narayana Rao came to power. Unfortunately, he was murdered by his uncle named called as Raghoba or Raghunatha Rao. This resulted in the fighting for the Peshwa post. There is a strong competition has been created to become as a Peshwa of Marathas. So as the Maratha Federation brought Madhavarao II of Narayana Rao to the post of Peshwa. So among that, the Maratha Federation, they have been discussed. As the discussion, they brought the Madhavarao II. They brought instead of as a Narayana Rao to the post of Peshwa. For this decision of the Marathas Federation, upset with the development, Raghoba, he approached the British for support. Actually, Raghoba or Raghunatha Rao, he wanted to become the Peshwa of Marathas. His thinking collapsed by the Maratha Federation, so that he approached to the British. The British thought of exploiting the situation in their favor, so that they are waiting for a wonderful opportunity. With this, they got an opportunity to exploit this situation in their favor. A long war waged between Marathas and British from 1775 to 1782 between the Marathas and the British. Initially, though Marathas gained upper hand in the beginning, but after they had to lose Allahabad to the British. The Maratha Federation unable to sustain the war with the British, unable to control the war against the British. Finally, they entered with an Salbai agreement, and with this agreement, the first Anglo-Maratha War come to an end. Dear students, you have to concentrate. The first Anglo-Maratha War ended with the Salbai agreement with the Marathas and British. As the result of this, Madhavarao II was named as the Peshwa. As during that situation, Lord Wellesley, he appointed as the Governor General of India. So, he appointed Governor General of India and provided his administration system from 1798 to 1805. And he was introduced the very important cunning policy called as the Subsidiary Alliance. So let's come to the the expansion of British Empire by Lord Wellesley with the introduction of subsidiary alliance. The expansion of the British Empire took place in a larger pace after the arrival of Lord Wellesley as the Governor General of India. By this time, the powerful states of Marathas and Mysore had become weak and the expansion was become very easy for the British. Lord Wellesley followed three policies to expand the British Empire in India. So, the three important policies are: number one, the subsidiary alliance. The second one, waging war against new states. And the third one, administrating the states directly that were under the control of the British. So, these are the very important policies. The very important policies were introduced by the Lord Wellesley for the expansion of the British Empire in India. So, what is the concept of subsidiary alliance? So, as the Lord Wellesley brought this policy into effect in 1798, in order bring the Indian states under control. According to this policy, basically a military protection agreement between East India Company and Indian state. Some of the very important conditions of subsidiary alliance, as we are going to be get one by one. So, as the part of the conditions of subsidiary alliance, number one, the Indian king had to keep the British army in his kingdom. And the second one, the concerned state had to bear the expenses of the army and the wages of soldiers, and also had to give certain revenue lands as well. And the third one, the king has to have a British resident in his court. A representative of the British government has to be kept in his court. And the fourth one, the king could not appoint any other European without the permission of the British. And the fifth one, in order to enter any agreement or pact with any Indian government, the permission of the Governor General was mandatory. In case of any agreement, any pact with any Indian government or with any other states, kingdoms, emperors, must ensure he has to be get the, or emperor, ruler has to get the permission of the Governor General. So, these are the very important conditions of the subsidiary alliance. And the sixth one, in return of all these services, the company would offer protection to the state from any internal or external. So, as the effects of subsidiary alliance, the British could place Indian state under their control through this policy. The maintenance of the army became very easy for the British Empire. The Indian states were subjected to severe economic exploitation because of, among that, the Hyderabad state was the first state to enter this agreement. So, followed by Mysore, Awadh, Tanjavur, Maratha, Pune, Berar, Arcot, Gwalior and other states entered this subsidiary alliance agreement. The concept which was introduced by the Lord Wellesley, the expansion of British Empire in India. So that's it about today's session. I hope you have understood till now what we are discussed. In case of if you having any doubts related to till now what we are discussed, please comment in the comment box. I will solve your doubts. and I will come back with the next video. Until, keep watching my channel. Thank you. See you in the next session. Bye bye. Take care.